Hello, YouTube. Welcome to part 14 of Horizon Zero Dawn with a Therapist. We are rolling right along. I'm very grateful for all of your support of the stream so far, and the fact that you've made it this far is a real testament to how cool you are, more so than even how cool I might be. So thank you for all of your support. Thanks for the likes, the subscriptions, the comments, the engagement. I really am grateful for that. Tell people about these streams if you think they could benefit from it. It really goes a long way to helping the channel grow, and I'm really grateful for it. And also, if you'd like to support the stream financially, perhaps, I got some cool merch in the merch store, or you could become a member on YouTube or become a Fourth Wall member. It's the best way. But those of you that do that, thank you very much as well. I'd like to give a little special shout out to you. Big cheers for supporting the stream in the way that you do. If you love how fast these uploads are coming out, it's because my dear friend Sean puts a lot of work into it, and I pay him to do that. So your financial support helps me pay him for his services. So big shout out to Sean. Big shout out to all of you. Let's see what's going on over here. Something tells me it's going to be wild. We're going to sneak in, as we are very close. Outlander Bow Warrior. Oh, shit.
How much did Assis pay you?
That sounds like her.
Oh, shit. Oh. Oh. Time to go Aloy Wick at the start here. Oh shit, did the Sunhawk get her trapped?
We must not yield.
Oh god, you're on fire, Aloy! It will pass! Whoa.
Rally for the Sundom! For the Sun King!
Yeah!
For the Sun...
Nobody told you that I could hunt humans, did they, Talana? Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I should have seen this coming. Of course he would hire men to keep me from Redmaw. They died for his pride.
Where's Assis now?
He's gone after Redmaw. This way. Hurry!
Why is Assis going after Redmaw alone?
Because of the glory,
Vanity.
of course. Yeah.
He doesn't want to share credit for the kill with his thrush. My sponsor did the same. Went after Redmaw alone out of pride. Even though he knew we needed to unseat Assis.
Why would somebody do that? It's the power of constructs. I mean, the human mind is really a fascinating thing. Like, we have created so many arbitrary points of importance that really, in the grand scheme of things, have no actual meaning. They just have meaning because we say they do. They just have value because we've decided that they have value. And this guy has decided that his role as Sunhawk means something, and that taking Redmaw down, Redmaw being this big enigmatic Thunderjaw, That if he takes that down, it actually means something tangible in the world that he lives in. And in some ways it does, because it would be reinforced via social praise and whatever kind of massive dopamine hit he gets from killing Red Maw and whatever he symbolically thinks that means. But when people get entrenched on certain ideas as being the law of the land for themselves as people, let alone the culture or the environment they're embedded in, they will do really wild things in order to ensure that those things hold place. And so in this case, he's willing to sacrifice people and divert them and sick the dogs on them so that he can maintain this symbolic role and prestige that he has. But it's all made up. And some of that can be very frustrating to have to confront when you realize that, like, there are times we care about shit just because we've been told we're supposed to care about it, not because it actually matters. Kind of a weird realization to have that I think a lot of people start to have as they get more mature and start to have more context and diverse representation of the world they live in. And it can be very frustrating to watch people get sucked into their ideological wormholes because they can do things that are destructive. Like, this guy tried to have her killed and ended up having all of his troops killed because of his own vanity and pride. And so if you're thinking like DrMick, it's not that important. Yeah, it is. People do terrible things on behalf of ideas all the time. And Talana did do the same thing. She did go without me. No, like, she's not a saint here. This thing, they've decided that this thing means more than like anything else. And apparently we're gonna find him at night.
I'm not sure where Assis and Red Maw went from here.
I can follow their tracks.
Let's go.
This way. Red Maw destroyed these trees.
Dude, are we really? We're about to fight Red Maw?
Regardless, I arrived in time to see him die from his wounds. And with my father, I didn't even get that.
Where was Assis when your father passed?
Watching. He became Sunhawk that day. But won't even speak of the event that made it possible. That all changes today.
Oh boy. All right. So you've got some not so
There he
great lived
is.
experience. Whoa.
Red Maw.
What up?
Assis is holding his own.
Oh shit!
Was holding his own. Well, we have our work cut out for us.
Dude, this is wild. Like, I just want to pause real quick before we fight this thing and talk about how stupid this is. Okay? Sometimes it is okay to stop. We talked about this in God of War explicitly a couple times. We're going to talk about it again right now. You do not have to take something to completion just because you've devoted a ton of time and energy to it. People have a very hard time removing themselves from things that they perceive themselves as being heavily invested in, particularly when you start to talk about energy, time, and resources being devoted to it. At some point, the smarter decision here would be to say, Red Maw sucks, and we should just leave it alone. Now, if Talana wants to go after it because she doesn't want to divorce herself from Kosunk, by all means, it is mind-blowing to me that Aloy is interested in this fight at all. because all of the context that we have for this thing is that it is a freaking death machine. This thing has eviscerated the best hunters in all the land consistently for years. So the idea as Aloy that you're just going to come in here bows blazing and take out Redmaw is kind of ridiculous. Like, we got other shit to take care of. This is not Aloy's crown jewel of existence in the way that it is for other people in the lodge. If Talana wants to run in there and sacrifice herself in the same way Assis just did, be my guest. You're an adult woman. You're a big girl. You do your thing, and your consequences are your consequences. But if I'm Aloy here in real life, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this because I know way too much. Like, again, Redmaw only matters because people have decided that Redmaw matters here. It's just like, I'd be like, dude, I got work tomorrow. I'm not fighting Redmaw. This thing just absolutely wrecked his shit right in front of my own eyes. I'm going to disengage. It is okay to make an informed decision about something and pull away from it when you realize that it is no longer worth your time or that you are in significant danger as a result of it. And if you're listening to me say this right now and you're like, oh, Dr. Mick, that's easy. If I was ever in this kind of position, I'd turn tail and run. You might be surprised. Think about how many times in your life you've ever said to yourself, geez, I really thought my boundary was 40 feet behind me. People go way past what they ever think their boundaries are going to be way more often than they like to admit because of the fact that we get sucked into this idea that we have invested, thus we must complete. The reality is sometimes the best decision is to cut bait and run. We know too much about Redmaw right now. Now, we're going to fuck him up. Don't get me wrong. We're absolutely going to mess this dude up in a big, giant way right now. Like, Redmaw is going to be in my pocket. But this is stupid.
Disc launchers!
Hey, Redmaw!
It's off! We're doing it! He's near just a little bit more! By the sun.
The bane of the Hunter's Lodge. Did somebody time that?
We did it!
We? You didn't do shit. I killed it with its own big-ass gun.
Oh, they're beautiful.
We make a great team.
And now, you're the Sunhawk.
About that.
Oh, man. But Dr. Mick, you're playing on the easiest difficulty. Of course you killed Redmaw. Maybe try playing on the hardest difficulty, dude. "40 seconds. Nice. How you doing, big guy?"
Talana, he's still alive.
Out of the way, Nora. Filth.
You're done. The Lodge is finally free of your influence.
I kept it alive. In dark times.
No, you buried it, along with my father's memory.
I should have... I should have let you fight Redmaw first. To soften him up. Damn.
All right. I don't even need to say the obvious here, but what an unfortunate last phrase. As we often try to do on this channel, I would like to take a second and offer up an empathic point of view on this generally insufferable human that just died in front of us, okay? Because I do think that it's important to do that. It's very easy for us to just go, all right, good, that dude deserved it. And he was racist to the very end and he is just a total douche. And you wouldn't be wrong. But I think in order for us, truly though, I think in order for us to appreciate a character like this, and I don't mean appreciate as in agree with, I just mean as a from a learning perspective, like learning to appreciate how a person like this comes to be like this. I want to throw some hypothesis out here about it because I think there's a richness to doing that. And I want to be clear that me doing this doesn't mean that I condone him being an asshole to Aloy or to Talana up until his dying breath. There are any number of lived experiences that we know nothing about that Assis could have had that would have led him to essentially be on a warpath socially with everybody he comes across. One thing that we do know about is that he experienced some degree of trauma from what he bore witness to at the hands of Redmaw. This guy, I see his being an asshole as being some compensation for whatever learned experiences he had, where he essentially learned the way that I maintain power and control is through distance and through cutting people down. That could come from a place of insecurity. Perhaps he came from an abusive home or an abusive space where he was consistently told that he was worthless and was cut down to mean nothing to the people that he believes he should have mattered to. And so he essentially spends his entire life trying to compensate for that by making himself feel good about himself, by making other people feel like shit. It's this idea, it's the idea of like relativity of if I can push everybody down to being a 6 out of 10, if I'm an 8 out of 10, that looks a hell of a lot better than if those people are 7 out of 10s. There's any number of reasons why he would do this. Perhaps connecting with people is something that brings on a whole bunch of anxiety for him because he had lived experiences where connection either was painful or was taken away from him. It could be any number of things, but this guy is acting this way up until his dying breath because that's what he learned is what helps him survive his environment and navigate it in the way that he thinks he needs to navigate it. Would we have ever been able to get him away from that and have him be somebody who could connect with all of us and be a meaningful contributor to the lodge that's not a complete douche? It's possible, but it would require him to have to confront a lot of things that he probably doesn't want to confront. Things that he loaded into his desire to kill Redmaw. And the fact that we just killed Redmaw instead of him essentially strips him of closure on any of number of things that he loaded into the idea that he would kill Redmaw. So the fact that he used his dying breath to say that stuff in a lot of ways makes sense to me because he wrapped his entire identity and directives into the destruction of Redmaw. Does that make the way that he interacted with us okay? No. But I do think it's important to try to understand how somebody comes to be like that, because if we do, it means that when there are certain signs that a person may go in that direction, maybe we can intercept it. Maybe we can provide a level of support for him that he needs, where he learns that humans are people to be connected with, not berated. Who knows? Maybe all of his friends and family and people that cared about him died and weren't available to him. And so he decided, all right, I'm not going to get close to anybody, because if I do, it's too painful. Again, any infinite number of reasons why this would happen. We'll never find out what they were, but I think it's worthwhile to discuss.
Here lies the Sunhawk of the Hunter's Lodge. It's almost a shame.
After all that, you're gonna weep for him.
Oh no. I just wish I could have seen his face when I succeeded him.
Okay then.
Meet me back at the Hunter's Lodge, if you have the time. I have a feeling the new Sunhawk wants to welcome you.
I'd like to point out that I shot the gun, Talana. But okay. Is empathy innate or learned? It's both. You're her thrush, so it's her kill. Gotta learn the rules. Fair. That is fair. I mean, what makes you so special? The fact that you got arrows sticking out of you? Hey, Red Maw. Hey, Red Maw. Hey. Hey, Red Maw. Hey. Hey. Hey, Red Maw. Yeah. 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 All right. Talana? Where you going? You just walking around in circles? DrMick showing some empathy. Some empathic teabagging. The arrow bounced out of his body. I always knew he was a hard ass. That's good. It's a good joke. Aloy's a gamer at heart. That's right. That's right. I gotta bring some levity to the deeper analysis, you know. All right, let's go find Ulia. Let's go fugitive hunting. Right. It totally exactly. Like Red Maw is just, he's an idea. And that idea is powerful. Oh shit. The hell's going on here? Oh, it's a bandit camp. Okay.
Can't scare me.
Shut up. Shut up. I should have shot out her vocal cords. All right, where's the
Quietly.
You're too fast to be Karja. What are you?
Come on out.
Yeah!
Whoa.
Do not fear death. Beckon it.
The hell?
Come! Ah, don't waste my blood.
Do I gotta kill all this other shit? Damn it. Alright, whatever.
Full of bandits and this Tanakh warrior too.
Bleed him dry.
I will destroy you!
Got you. Get it together.
Can't believe you all want to fight me. You guys are watching me literally Aloy whip the shit out of this, and you're like, yeah, we'll keep going at her.
Flank him.
The hell? God, this bandit camp is shitty. OSHA would never approve of this. Oh my god. What are we doing here?
Here we are.
I'm coming for you.
Ain't afraid to die.
Anybody else? Well, what were you doing? Where is Dr. Evil hiding?
No way we could have talked about this, huh?
All the Kaja did was talk. Talk and bleed. Talk and shackle me. But you fought like a Tanakh. I'd have taken you for my child.
You can't just take a child.
The strong take from the weak. And in the taking, I'm made stronger. These stories pricked into my skin. Look. Children, riches, lives, and land. All of these have been mine. Drink of my... my blood. And they'll live on.
No, Ilya. I've got enough stories to carry.
Yeah, I don't really want to drink your blood. Sorry. It's kind of a shame that we don't get more information on her. I would have liked to have gotten more context for that. And daytime. Okay. Whatever. I mean, because she was saying a lot of stuff there that we just don't have any context to be able to empathize with.
Shadow, go ahead and kill the captain of the Vanguard anyway.
All right. Well, that's kind of nice that we get to knock out that bandit camp while we're at it. Razgrund, let's go. So, how are the first impressions with the Tanac? I don't know. I'm not gonna let one person decide what my views on that people is. Like, I think, see, it's actually a very important question because that presupposes a process that I think too many people engage in, which is that she is your first impression of that tribe, and if you're not careful, you're likely to think that she is a representative of that tribe. Like, this actually happens to a lot of us for a lot of things. Like, if you've never met a person that holds a certain kind of identity, and then you finally meet a person who holds a particular identity, if you're not careful, you're likely to think that that person represents all those people because you don't have the diverse range of experience with the diversity of that identity in order to engage meaningfully. When you meet somebody for the first time that holds an identity that you're not familiar with, be very, very careful not to assume that that person is representative of everyone. They could be an anomaly. Their subjective experience could be something that makes more sense within the broader picture if you got to know it. But you don't want to engage with those types of thoughts where you go, oh, wow, those people are intense. Because we haven't met those people. We met one person. So be mindful not to make certain generalizations a priori to an entire group of people because of what one person brings to the table. She was intense, and I don't understand her well enough to appreciate what it is that she was bringing to the table there, but I don't know what that means for that tribe at all. Damn, look at all these trees Red Maw took down.
Stocking up.
Oh, good. There's a stalker around here somewhere. Can't wait to fight him. I actually need to kill watchers. I need a watcher heart. Maybe. Hey! Good shit. All right. Oh, okay. All right. That's how you want to do it, huh? Try to be nice, man. I try.
Glad I found this.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay. Who are these people? Bandits. All right, good. More.
Got another shot for you. Gonna pick you apart shot by shot.
He says as he dies. If you are playing on ultra easy, does it mean the machines are living on ultra hard? I suppose it does. Ooh, what is this? Look at that. Hey. Give me some lore. It's Pizza Veet. Greetings, valued Cheesy Heart customer. Cheesy Heart Pizza and Subs is proud to present Pizza Veet, our new and improved drone delivery system. Guaranteed, no more street drops or roof pizzas. Guaranteed, on target, on time, surgical strike delivery. Pizza to your POS in 5 minutes or free. Melty hot or the price is not. Zip to cheesyheart.hollow and call in the Pizza Veet. Cool. Yeah, that's the pizza delivery bot right there. Proximity trap. All right, well, he knows I'm coming.
Ho there! I thought they'd send soldiers. The mighty Karja Empire must be more strapped than I thought. How sad. No matter, bounty hunters die like the rest. Welcome to my ravine of death.
Are you serious?
Sadist, murderer, trapmaker. All these things. That's why they put me in that stinking hole. Still alive?
Yes.
Oh, you're a trickster.
This guy kind of reminds me
I'm
of the
curious.
Drifter from Destiny.
I don't suppose those behemoths that called to the prison killed Geneva.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, that's why I have my toys. To distract me from the pain. Not yet, little acrobat. Whoopsie.
No, it's the other way. Into the ravine.
Okay. I don't know how you know that.
But you're not on fire yet.
Pots incoming! Bring a sword!
Distant, aren't you? Easy does it. Mind your fingers.
How did this guy get the mats for this, man? Holy crap. Oh god! Oh boy.
You got me. No more traps. Tell Geneva I'll be a good boy from now on.
You expect me to believe that? What's in your hand?
Oh, this? Well, just a little... Oops.
I guess he died doing what he loved.
Oh shit. Wow, I was not expecting that to go there. I mean, if I'm being honest, if I had the option to go to prison forever or die, death kind of sounds nice. I think there's room to talk about something important here, but I'm trying to think of how to talk about it in a way that is not gonna like kind of hijack the whole stream. I first would like to direct anybody who maybe was triggered by the fact that this guy just killed himself to my video on YouTube called A Conversation About Suicide, where I go into real depth about that. I worked on the National Suicide Prevention Hotline for 3 years, and it's one of the most valuable experiences I ever had. And in that video, I talk a lot more about my perspective on suicide as somebody who worked on the hotline. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna talk about this. I personally believe that an adult of sound mind and body has the right to determine when they no longer want to exist. That personal belief is separate from what my professional responsibility is, so I don't want those two things to get conflated. I'm talking about DrMick the person right now, to an extent, when I say this. If that guy does not want to go back to prison for whatever reason, and knows that Aloy is there to apprehend him, or knows that he has people on his trail, I believe he's got the right to say, you know what, I'm gonna go out on my own terms, and I'm not gonna go to jail. I'm not dealing with that. I'll save the resources. I'm gonna call it quits here. The shitty part about what happened there is that he wrapped Aloy up into it in a way that is dangerous to her. Like he dropped that thing and it would have killed her too if she stayed up there. It can be incredibly traumatic to be a person who is either bearing witness to a public suicide, or to be the person who finds somebody who killed themselves. And the reason that I'm talking about this is because sometimes when people talk about a person committing suicide or killing themselves or whatever terminology you want to use, that it's a selfish act And I think when people engage with that narrative, they're often engaging with a little bit of what we're talking about here, where it's like, well, you know, somebody's got to find you. People have to deal with your affairs. People may be traumatized. You may be leaving certain people behind that are relying on you, etc. And it's unfortunate that people go in that direction because suicide is rarely a selfish act and is more often a selfless act in the mind of the person who intends to complete it. Which is essentially that, like, I'm a burden, that me being around is burdensome to myself and also is burdensome to the people around me. And more often than not, I would hear people say, I'm doing you a favor by ending my life because then you don't have to deal with me anymore. It's a sort of the ultimate culmination to an extent of self-loathing. Roping, more often than not, suicide happens in isolation. In fact, one of the things that is most likely to prevent a person from ending their own life is to have them in proximity to others. It was something that we were taught to attempt to assist people with when they called. Doing something like that publicly or in a way that is going to be additionally traumatic on top of whatever trauma the people who might discover you would experience is a real problem. And that guy doing that there is the thing that I would consider to be the problem of that exchange. Now, if you are somebody watching this who is struggling with thoughts of wanting to end your own life, I do encourage you to please call the hotline. There are things out there. There are options out there aside from ending your own life in order to solve whatever issues are presenting in your life. And I am no way condoning, so to speak, or encouraging suicidal behavior. But if it is something that somebody has decided is the way that they would like to go, as it is very clear that that guy did, doing it in such a way that it is not overtly traumatizing to others or roping other people in is an important consideration. I realize that what I'm talking about here is probably not fun for some people to listen to and hear, because I very much see suicide as a ridiculously complex idea. I don't think it's as simple as we tend to talk about it. We tend to say, like, suicide bad, life good. And unfortunately, that's not always the case for people. And it raises a lot of anxiety for people when we talk about this. So again, I encourage you to watch my video called The Conversation About Suicide if you want more information on this topic. But please know that there are resources available to you if you're struggling and it's something that you are thinking about or there are thoughts that are becoming more pervasive to you. If you have been watching these playthroughs and you appreciate what I bring to the table, or you feel some level of comfort with me, I was who was on the other end of the crisis hotline, this National Suicide Prevention Hotline, for a long time. Like, I was one of those people. And there are a lot of other people like me who are willing to listen to what's going on and to hear your struggles. So I believe this guy had the right to end his own life. I don't believe he had the right to rope Aloy into a dangerous situation in order to make it happen. It's the TLDR. And as we go seek out this next person, I just want to again reiterate how much I appreciate all of you for being here and for trusting me with these playthroughs to talk through difficult stuff like this.
That was refreshing.
The swim. I think the swim. The swim was refreshing. Or my analysis, I guess. Okay, so we need to go. We're gonna do a little loop-de-loop here around these to grab these like vessels and stuff. So we're gonna go east. If I could find a spot where I could jump off, that would be fantastic. All right, there you go. Good. No! God damn it. Oh. Pressed X instead of triangle. Oh, hey, I got down. I mean, I guess it was a fast track to getting down. And so ends the story of Aloy. Yep, that's it. Game over. Playthrough's done. Campfire discovered. So let's go up the road here. And we're gonna pass right by it. Cool. Skog, I'm sure you're watching the VOD, in which case, I have no doubt you clipped that. That was for you, friend. Is this worth climbing up? I think I probably have to if I want to get up there. So. The fact that Aloy has the guts to free climb this. Oh, baby. Look at that. Come on. This is the wrong way. Why are we going down? Wait, why are we going down? Go up. If you fall, don't turn around and say that was a stupid idea. Do it again. I don't know. I kind of wish in games like this, they would just say, hey, do you want to automatically climb to the top? Okay, yeah, because there's really no, like, actual skill involved in this at all. Like, I'm literally just pushing the control sticks. Like, would you like to watch Aloy climb this mountain? Yes. Okay. And then she just auto climbs it. Look at this. All these ledges are, like, all wet. No problem for Aloy. No problem. I can handle falling water at terminal velocity. No problemo. Easy. Okay. Hey, guys. What's up?
Learn of the sun's harshness. We'll show them.
Yeah, I just climbed that. What's a few thousand gallons of water per second? Nothing for Aloy. Just a little splish splash, that's all. This is one of the easier flowers we've ever had to grab.
Your question.
Spake full well in language quaint and olden, one who dwelleth by the castled Rhine, when he called the flowers so blue and golden, stars that in earth's firmament do shine. Stars they are wherein we read our history as astrologers and seers of eld, yet not wrapped about with awful mystery like the burning stars which they beheld. Wondrous truths and manifold as wondrous God hath written in those stars above, but not less in the bright flowerets under us stands the revelation of his love.
Are you waiting for an answer?
All right. We're gonna go. Yeah, let's go get that vessel. I have played Soma, Granny. Long, long, long time ago. And I loved it. But it was not under this format. So it might be an interesting game to do again at some point, knowing that I already love it.
I'll tuck that away.
We'll see. I do not have the VODs for it, unfortunately. I have one VOD for that playthrough. Only one. Man, one of them traveling merchants would be kind of nice about now. Is that Meridian over there? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's pretty cool, Fictionary. Yes, I have played Senua's Sacrifice, and it was a solid game, but it's not within my realm of expertise, so I have no intent of playing it again. Damn it. Hey. Hey. Oh, it's limping. Oh, I kind of feel bad. Holy shit. Idiot. I just wanted to read this lore, man. That's all I really wanted. Because there's gotta be some lore around here. I thought I saw some when I was like walking up on this. It's like these are some like old ass ruins, and usually there's some lore. Yep, there we go. Here's the vessel. A cracked and battered vessel, once dear to the old ones, bears the legend Pharaoh. Sets of ancient vessels can be traded. Okie dokie. Summer sale! Yum now! Hey, fitness buffs! How's that summer six-pack coming? Need a little extra boost? Yum now! Loaded protein cartridges are 30% off through July 15th. Yum now! Loaded protein cartridges are made from 100% all-natural whey protein. And talk about easy. Just install it in any Yum Now nutritional printer and you'll be on the fast track to real beach, real bod you always wanted. Yum Now! Leave Avatar sexting to the fugs. Oh boy. Okay, let's go get the Banuk figurine. Yeah, I have fun reading those, Dio. Man, those ads in Red Dead were great. Ooh, what's this? Do not ignore. Do not ignore this message. You have just been chosen to receive a free starter pack of Satisfy. Congratulations. You've been selected to receive a free sample of the revolutionary new dietary supplement Satisfy. The amazing, satiating effect of Satisfy is made possible by the latest innovations in the exciting scientific field of micronutrition. One Satisfy tablet is packed with enough essential protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals to replace a full meal. No time for lunch? You'll still have time for Satisfy. Take Satisfy on business trips and avoid overpriced vertiport eateries. Reply to this message and we'll send you your free starter pack of Satisfy today. Act now and we'll throw in a pack of new Satisfy Alert. All the micronutritional benefits of Satisfy, plus the stimulant effects of 2 doses of Coffee Ho. Man, it sounds like a miserable place to be in that old time. And she'll like it too.
Easy, easy. A relic of some kind.
I cannot confess. Tuk Tuk, there is much I would confess to you, but one thing I cannot. I did not kill Signac, our chieftain, who claimed to be your father. That night I was alone in my tent, drunk with cold wine, dreaming as I always did of Eli, your mother, and her sunset smile. You will never hear my testament, and my offering will never touch the warmth of your hands, but I paint my mark in the light of truth. I know what I am guilty of and what I am not. I hope against hope that in your heart you know the same.
Probably Banuk.
It's definitely Banuk, Aloy. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. All right. Up we go. I'd like to hit up another vantage point at some point too. I feel quite invested in that storyline. Also, I need to get my new bow. A traveling merchant would be great. Come on, Aloy. Thank you. All right, what have we here? Who are you?
Have to go back to work soon. Wish I could just go home and sleep.
Ooh, a quest. What's up, dude?
Ah, the machine-ridden Nora with the special spear. How lucky to come across you. I have a proposal. Come closer. Call me Fernand.
Okay. What's up, bud?
Okay, Fernand. What's your proposal?
During the reign of that idiot Carja King, Outlanders often hid items of value from raiders. Well, I found one.
What is it?
A relic from the old ones. You probably would understand it better than I do. Unfortunately, it's too high for me to reach.
Uh-huh, and you want me to get it for you?
What a brilliant plan! You're a much better climber than I am, to be sure. Get it, bring it back, and we'll split the proceeds.
How about I see what it is first?
That works too.
Hey, Fernand. My eyes are up here.
I'm looking at your spear. It's magnificent, but how does it work?
You stick the pointy end into the machine.
Yes, but how does it turn foe into friend?
It's simple, really.
Yes?
You wouldn't understand.
She literally just called this dude an idiot. I don't think, look, as a person who in real life, outside the context of streaming and being a therapist, generally does not enjoy engaging with the general public, I understand having a level of like, you just want people to like leave you alone. And Aloy is certainly entitled to be annoyed by the presence of other people. I'm not suggesting that Aloy has to be totally fine with everybody she comes across. Aloy lives a stressful life. So if she finds this guy annoying and wants to be mean to him, I guess by all means. But I find it fascinating how often Aloy really is not kind in how she engages with people. This guy seems to be very clear about the fact that he understands a bit about her and that he's interested in her spear. And he hasn't, I mean, I guess, you know, if he was staring at her breasts, which I think is what's insinuated by the fact that he's not looking at her in the eyes. And then he says, I was actually looking at your spear, which is consistent with what he'd been saying up until that point. Like, it's a little odd to me that she's that mean to him. Like, she essentially is like, oh, it's very simple, but it's too much for you to understand. That's calling him an idiot. And I don't really know why Aloy goes in that direction. The only thing that I can think of to try to explain that behavior is that Aloy is still having to manage the fact that people are interested in actually engaging with her. I mean, Aloy grew up for 20 years with people very directly avoiding her and shunning her and really being nasty to her. And so it may be that because of that learned experience, she essentially tries to get out ahead of it and control the situation by being a lot more closed off and mean, because it is in some ways protective. Like, there's a level of self-preservation in that. Because she does have to make an adjustment to the fact that people now know something about her that's beyond just you're an outsider. They see her in a way that's almost revered. Like, wow, you can ride the machines and you can turn them into allies. Like, that's pretty fascinating. And so people want to talk to her. And it may be just a pushback to equilibrium and saying, like, you know what, I'm gonna be a little terse here. I'm not gonna be very nice, because it allows me to keep people at arm's length, because that's my optimal operating condition. And we all do this to an extent. We all have a level of your optimal zone in terms of like social engagement. So that to me is maybe why she acts that way. But it is really, I mean, I guess in some ways it's refreshing, because in most video games, like, usually the person says the right thing all the time. And I do appreciate that Aloy at times says stuff that is not necessarily patterned with her behavior or with context, or, you know, where she is fallible in certain ways and more realistic as a result. Like, maybe she's just annoyed. Like, I'd be really curious to ask her, like, hey, what was that about? That guy, that was an interesting response that you had to him. But we don't get to do that, so I can only hypothesize. Just a very interesting way for her to engage with him, because he doesn't strike me as being particularly, like, problematic in the way that he's engaging with her.
What do you do exactly?
I'm a trader of fine tinkerings. I buy low, sell high.
But in this case, you wouldn't be buying.
Sometimes I find tinkerings as well.
I see. Let's say I'm interested. What do I need to do?
The relic rests on the rise of Dusk Mesa. Bring it to me at the Meridian docks, and we will both profit.
We'll see about that.
Okay. This music right now sounds so much like Shadow of the Colossus. Ooh, there's a merchant. So we're gonna go find that merchant. Wow, look at
no one came through here. The inn seems like a good place to start asking.
Merchant, and then we do this other stuff. And look at this whole other big ass town just chilling here.
Karja have been here working since the Spire.
Should be out there fighting machines. Piecing around.
All right, weapons. Shadow Hunter bow. Let's go. Weapon satchel is full. Okay. I can increase the size of my weapon satchel by doing this. Well, that's nice. Oh my God, DrMick, you found it! Man, how many of you have been waiting for me to figure this shit out? Dude, I can just make this do, like, absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage. I'm gonna just absolutely wreck people now. You're welcome. History of Sunfall. The history of Sunfall. After the vanishing of the Radiant Iriv and his cohort in the west, the Radiant Basadid ordered a mighty fortress built at the Sundom's farthest reach. His luminance chose to build atop ancient ruins, reasoning the ancients must have seized upon the location for its strategic value. Of the ancients, their works of too smooth gray stone and strangely carved metal were collapsed or built over, and the catacombs sealed off. Only the stone ring, perhaps used for some unknowable ritual, was left in place to serve the garrison as a training ground. Even though its builders and soldiers lived in fear of the land where the sun goes at night, the finished walls of the fortress were mighty and unshakable. His luminance and his high priest, the irrefutable Pashaman, named it Sunfall after the blazing eye of the sun, and by the light it was good. None doubted the Radiant Basadid's prudence, nor denied his lingering hope that his brother might one day be sighted again. But no great threat would come from the west in his lifetime, nor did it come for the next 3 generations, though records show the men of Sunfall fought many bandits and scroungers skulking in the Rustwash, and a dangerous stampede of behemoths in the Long Burn. In the time Sunfall slipped from the common memory until the 6th year of the 11th Sun King's reign, when the Radiant Marzid himself came to inspect it. In the desert heat, his luminance received a vision of an ornate citadel with a dome of metal so polished it would greet the dawn and catch the rays of the sun's last shining at dusk. At once, he ordered the dedication of the Sundom's resources to building the structure. After its construction, his luminance took the citadel as his summer palace, bringing with him many members of the Sun Court, nobles and artisans. In time, Sunfall became a city unto itself, and the source of great works such as Passion of the Tallneck Among the Dunes, Turning Seasons at Bronze Flash, and Lament for Cinnabar Sands. The stone training ring was repurposed for shows of pageantry, where young blazons or the Hunter's Lodge hawks could display the sun's dominance over the machines. Sunfall's prominence in the culture of the Sundom continued for many years until the Sun King Marzid's untimely demise in the citadel he so treasured. For his procession back at the Alight, a line of torches was laid all the way across the Daybrink so that over the days and nights of his bearing he might always go in light. The departed king's brother, the Radiant Hivas, was occupied wholly with renewing the soldiery of the Sundom, and with the old Sun King's passing, so too passed this chapter in Sunfall's history. In the early years of the 13th Sun King Jiran's reign, before the falling of his shadow, a particularly harsh season came upon the Sand Whisper Valley. Upon hearing that the storms could strip the very detailing off armor, he decreed that the strongest among his guard should be trained in the desert here, and named Kestrels. Indeed, Helis, who would become the most infamous of the Kestrels, was one of the first to survive his reforging by sun and sand here. In the 15th year of the Sun King Jiran's reign, when the sacrifices in the Sun Ring were judged insufficient to calm the derangement of the machines, he presided over the blooding of the ring at Sunfall. A trapped behemoth was driven with spears and spurred over slaves of the Oseram and Utaru. When the beast turned upon the Kestrels, the Sun King stood and declared that the sun, in its great generosity, would accept the sacrifice of faithless and faithful alike. So began a fearful era for Sunfall, of sacrifices unending in its sun ring. and the citadel whispered as a place where no light shone. Many upstanding citizens of the Sundom were taken inside its doors to disappear as surely as if they had journeyed to the Forbidden West. In the last days of Sun King Jiran's reign, Sunfall was in charge of his kestrels and high priest, no longer answering to the Sundom as a whole. It was no surprise then that following the liberation of Meridian, Jiran's loyalists sought refuge at Sunfall. As a fortress, it was impregnable, but cut off from the bounteous lands across the Daybrink, it was a city impoverished. So stood the stalemate in the first year of the 14th Sun King, the Radiant Avad, and so stood Sunfall. Once built to protect the Sundom from the shadow of the West, it now sheltered a worse shadow, the false Karja who dwelt within. Damn. I love how elaborate all that is. So great, man. Like somebody had to sit there and think through that. It's fantastic. All right. All right. Let's go talk to more folks in this area because there's a lot of stuff to do here. It's a big ass town.
Arrested too for disorderly conduct.
I barely turn a profit even in the best of times, especially since I usually hand out what I can to those in need. Would you care for some fruit? Better enjoy it before someone runs off with the rest of it.
Has someone been stealing from you?
Yes, almost every night. Not enough to force me to close shop, but definitely enough to hurt.
It's a pretty empathic person, it seems, that we're talking to here.
Have you found any sign of the thief?
Just a couple of old rinds near the storehouse. Not much to go on.
Why haven't the guards looked into it?
The guards blame the wildlife, but I doubt they believe it. I guess they have more to worry about than a woman and her livelihood.
Is there anyone you suspect?
I've known most people here since childhood. None of them strike me as a food thief. You want to talk about other vices, however?
I know how to track. I could look for the thief.
Really? Thank you. You could start in my storehouse by the river. Someone must be desperate to steal rather than just ask me.
I'll see what I can find.
Man, I wish more people would take the time to engage in a perspective on other folks like this woman. That is so empathic. That is so depersonalized. Everything about the way that she's conceptualized that is funneled through this idea that people won't do bad things unless forced to by circumstance. And while that's not always true, it's pretty common. And like, I love that she's like, hey man, if you would just ask me, I'd hook you up. You don't have to steal from me. But there's a clash of multiple things happening in that regard. There's probably some level of societal aversion to acknowledging that you're in need. I mean, the Karja seem to have a pretty strong hierarchical structure in their society. And so when you're essentially blamed for being poor, because we tend to look at poor as a personality type for people as opposed to just a set of circumstances that people have to navigate. going up to people who have resources isn't something that typically goes well, particularly if people see it as an affront or if they personalize the issue. So this idea that you could just walk up to her and ask would only really be possible in a society that cultivates that kind of thing. And it doesn't seem that the Karja do that from what we've observed. But it's really a wonderful thing that she's willing to look at this and say, you know what? I probably don't have all of the information, which means that there's a chance that a person who would steal from me is doing so out of desperation rather than to be malicious. And so I want to get more information on that. I think that's awesome. I really do. More of us should try to be like that as often as we can. Unpublished Poet, thank you for the Prime sub. All right. I'm totally down to help with that. I'm just looking for lore, man. Y'all got any more of them lore bits? Y'all got any more of them lore bits?
Far cry from those days.
Look how much food is just left out. Wonder if that's because people are generally pretty trustworthy here. Want to go in all the buildings. She did say they're stealing food. It's like if stealing food is a problem, I'm surprised that it's all just left out. There's just a lot of food just sitting outside.
Leave me alone, girl. Can't you see I'm searching the water?
Okay, what's wrong? Has someone fallen in?
No. Have you seen a girl of about 17 and... I can't even say it.
Are you afraid she jumped to her death?
I don't know. Elida. My only daughter. She's gone.
Asking questions is great. Asking questions that are loaded with presuppositions is not great. If you're Aloy here, you got to clean up your questions a little bit or give some very generic directives. Aloy is essentially taking her hypothesis and potential anxiety that goes along with it and just totally injecting it into this conversation in a way that's completely unnecessary. We just met this guy. Aloy could literally just ask him, what's going on? What are you looking for? How can I be of assistance to you if you would like assistance? And leave it at that. But instead, Aloy is like, do you think she jumped to her death? You think she killed herself? Did somebody drown in the river? Aloy, chill. Those are your what ifs. And there's really no reason to put those out on the table. Instead, go in with the idea that you don't know what's going on and you'd like to gather the information rather than just throwing hypothesis after hypothesis at him with your questioning. because that type of questioning is not particularly helpful because you get a yes/no answer, but it doesn't give you any additional information. Let him tell you what's up, if it's something he even wants to tell you, which he may not even want to, because the first thing he said to her is, "Leave me alone. I'm looking for something in the water." So it's a lesson of be mindful of the way that you ask questions when you're trying to gather information, because when you bias those questions that directly with your own what ifs, you're probably not helping, as opposed to just being curious about what's going on and leaving things open-ended and allowing people to give you the information. Yeah, the word I use, presuppositions. So her questions essentially, like when she says, did somebody jump off the bridge? She is presupposing that somebody may have jumped off this bridge and this guy's looking for her. And that's not useful in this conversation at all. Like, just let him tell you.
Who else is searching for her?
I demanded the guards look for her, but I can't put my hope in them. They say girls run off all the time at this age. Not my Alita. I've reached out to her friends, but they say they haven't seen her in weeks. Weeks! How could I not know? But they will look for her. I've searched everywhere, and then I thought maybe she might be here, in the water. By the sun!
This is interesting. Again, what I love about video games and like quest giving is it puts us into this position that I talked about a few episodes ago, which is your first impression. So we see this guy, we see that he's distraught, we see that he wants to get his daughter back, and it's very easy to just automatically assume like, oh yeah, he's a good guy, and his daughter running away really sucks, and that's bad that she ran away. But we don't know anything about this guy. We don't know anything about the context. It very well could be that this daughter is absolutely exerting autonomy that she needs to exert in order to get away from like a problematic home environment. Like, we have no idea. And I'm not suggesting that that's the case. It very well could be that he's a worried father and that everything he's saying is true. But we don't know that. So if you're Aloy, you want to keep in mind that this first impression and the information you're getting right now is not the total of the information that's involved in this process. It could be that his daughter has good reason to run off. We don't know. And we can't claim to know with our own inductive reasoning and hypotheses. So we're going to take everything he says, and we're also going to take it with a grain of salt, because I would be interested to know what the daughter's story is if we find her. Because it may not necessarily be safe for her to go back to him. We don't know. By the way, children tend to really only run away as a grand gesture when they believe that they have been slighted in a pretty profound way. So my antenna immediately go up and are like, if your daughter ran away, why would she run away? If she was taken, that's serious business. But again, we don't know, so we want to gather as much information as we can.
Where did you last see her?
Just last night, in the house. She seemed better.
Was she ill?
She seemed withdrawn, sad. So I was pleased when she wanted to go out in the garden. That's the last I saw of her.
Has she done or said anything unusual?
She's been like a different person. She used to be such a happy girl, playing in the dirt with the boys.
What changed?
I don't know. She disagrees with me about everything. Hates the ceasefire. Thinks we never should have fought the war to begin with. It's been a month since I've seen her smile. She spends so much time in her room. I should have paid more attention.
Did something happen during the war that upset her?
The war upset us all. The cruelty of the mad Sun King, the blood on the streets. When Edelman's men fled, they stormed through here. There's a ceasefire now, of course, but Alita broods about it more than ever. It bothers her that our people are so divided.
Uh-huh. Okay. Sounds like your daughter's a teenager who's becoming more aware of the realities of the circumstances that she lives in. It sounds like they're pretty damn depressing to her. What's interesting about this conversation with this guy is we get to see how explicit his parental expectations are about his child. And many parents are guilty of this, where their expectation is that their child should be happy and satisfied and fulfilled at all times, which is understandable. What parent doesn't want their child to be living it up? But unfortunately, that's really not how things work. One, being a teenager generally sucks. Two, the world that they live in is pretty depressing. Three, there could be stuff going on in her life that she doesn't even disclose to him because she's gaining autonomy as a teenager and they're bumming her out and she's experiencing some depression or some sadness, or maybe she's not what he wants her to be right now. And a lot of parents take that personally. And a lot of parents will try to fix that rather than meeting their children where they're at and trying to understand them. Quite literally, the most, I believe, important thing that you can be in the presence of a teenager is curious about their expectation, or curious about them. Most important thing that you can be with a teenager is curious about their experience. Not asking questions that are leading questions so that you can get one over on them, but instead being like, hey, like, what's up? You seem down. I would love to know more about what's going on for you. She sounds like she's trying to figure out how the world works. She's processing what has happened in the past with the Karja against her own developing values. That's really valuable stuff. That's something that all of us should have the flexibility and space to learn to process. And if this father gets way too wrapped up in this idea that his daughter's supposed to be and feel and act a certain way, and then she doesn't, he's going to scramble to try to get her back to what he wants her to be, instead of meeting her where she's at and maybe having some curiosity about where she'd like to go. So if you're a parent, you got to be really careful with this stuff. You got to be really, really, really careful with this stuff, because you'll push your kids away if you don't. Like, if you don't take the time to be curious about them and try to understand them, this is what can happen. She withdraws. She doesn't feel heard. She bails. Now, again, I don't know 100% if that's true, but it starts to make sense based on what this guy is saying.
I'm a good tracker. I could look for her. Where did you last see her?
In our garden. Please, maybe you'll find something I missed.
I'll do my best.
May the sun light your way.
Man, if it's some kind of like gigantic thing that's like chilling in the garden, that it's like so obvious that he looks like an idiot because he missed it, I'm gonna laugh really hard.
Don't look to me for help. My duty is to guard. I don't get involved in politics.
Looks like Alita left a few things behind. Aren't these for spying far away? Why would you need a spyglass in the garden?
So look at bugs, silly goose.
Aren't these for spying far away? I guess she was doing some gardening. Something buried. No, something dug up. That must have left a trail.
This guy's got a big ass house.
What's in this bottle? Ugh, it smells like ash or rotten eggs. I better pour that out.
Ash or rotten eggs?
sure as the sun's rising, he's off courting that noble girl.
Flower petals. Why would she take flowers from her own garden?
To give them to
Did
a
you find anything in
significant
the
other.
garden?
Nothing definite yet. I'll let you know.
Hey, don't worry about it, brother. I'm on it. I'm on the case.
There was a guard under the last king. Far cry from this.
See what happens.
The petals end here, at the water. Could her father have been right, but at the wrong place?
Oh, God. Am I gonna find a body at the bottom of the water?
Ropes. To tie up a boat that isn't here. Maybe she took the boat to that island over there. Looks like I'm in for a long swim.
Is that right? Oh, God, Aloy. Holy shit, you are gonna break your neck one of these days. All right. Hopefully there's only salmon in here. Still don't see a boat. There she is.
I'll find a use for you. The boat. This looks promising.
Oh, this is gonna be
You did it!
wild. Hey there. How's it going? You like how powerful my bow is now that I learned how to upgrade it? Yeah, of course you do. What are you doing up there?
Who are you? How did you learn to fight like that? What are you even doing here?
Maybe you can start by answering a few of my questions.
Where's Dr. Evil hiding?
What are you doing on this island?
I come here to be alone.
Do you know your father fears you're dead?
I'm surprised he even noticed I was gone.
He has the whole village looking for you. He's worried.
The snap maw kept me. You took care of it, so thank you. I should be fine now.
Why did you bring flowers here?
No real reason. I'm trying to make this a place for us. For all of us.
Who's us? Is there someone else here?
No. I was going to surprise my friends with what I made. There's no one else here, obviously.
So would you like me to tell your father that you're here? Are you gonna do that yourself? Like, I want to get more info. I want more info. Give me more info.
Let's go back to the village together.
I need to finish planting my garden. Just a little more time. I'll be fine, I promise.
You know, I think I'll take a little more time too. To look around.
You don't need to do that.
I really do.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Bedrolls. 2 of them.
Okay. So, all right.
And a set of cups. She must not have been alone here. Looks like Alita has a friend.
Oh no. She has a friend? Oh gosh. Oh man, did they touch their lips together at some point too? That would be just abhorrent. Oh no.
Elita, if you came here to be alone, why are there 2 bedrolls? And don't lie to me this time.
By the sun, I don't know where he is.
Who?
A troll. He lights a fire signal when it's safe to meet him, but he's not here.
Who's a troll?
A friend I've known since childhood. I'd be planting in the garden and he'd dump worms down my back. I hated that. But the last few months we'd meet here and everything was different. We talked for hours. He helped me plant that garden. I couldn't wait to see him again. It's like I'm dead and only come alive when I'm here with him. Do you know what that's like?
I can't say that I do.
Adults have a tendency to harshly judge the hyperbole that teenagers live in. And I want to talk about that for a second. Is when she says, I'm dead inside until I see him and then I'm alive. That's her experience. Like, when teenagers, I don't know if these two are romantically involved or not, but when teenagers find either a significant other or a really meaningful peer relationship, they don't have a point of reference through which to filter their experience or compare it. So your first intimate relationship or your first really good friend can feel so powerful. Like your first heartbreak is devastating. Part of the reason that teenagers feel things so big is because they don't have lived experience to cross-reference it with in the way that like a 40-year-old does. A 40-year-old has somebody cut them off in traffic and they might be pissed or they might just be like, yeah, whatever, shit happens. A lot worse has happened in my life. A teenager, however, gets slighted or experiences something and it's huge because maybe it is the most profound experience they've ever had. Maybe this is the most profound relationship she's ever had. So she speaks about this and it's easy for seasoned folks to be like, okay, you teenager, you silly teenager, you'll get over it. But that kind of profound experience can lead to people, not just teenagers, making some really bad decisions in the interest of their health. And in this case, she's chilling on an island by herself with gators in the name of whatever connective experience she's having with this dude. And that's pretty common behavior amongst teenagers. And again, you want to engage that with curiosity rather than sit here and be all high and mighty judgmental about her experience or minimize it. One of the worst things you can do for a teenager is minimize their experience or try to get them to see it in a context that is relative to you and your understanding of the world. You can do that in more educational ways and more empathic ways than just being really hard on a teenager for the experience they're having or making fun of them.
Why keep this all secret?
Patrol is a soldier for the Karja in Shadow, stationed at the outpost across the lake.
Oi.
It's treason for us to even meet. How could I tell my father? How could I tell anyone?
That is quite the bind. That is quite the bind, Ms. Capulet.
Well, then how did you two arrange to meet here?
We came here as kids. After he left, I would come back sometimes. One day, I surprised him here. He smiled from ear to ear. We sat and played like we had as kids, but war had changed him. Changed us both. We weren't kids anymore. We started meeting in secret. He'd light a fire to signal it was safe for him to leave his post at the Citadel, but last night...
He didn't come?
I've been waiting all night and all day. I haven't seen anyone but you.
It just goes to show, this is like the 1,000th time I've talked about this, but it just really goes to show that like adult sensibilities and symbols get thrust upon children and teenagers. These two don't give a shit about the whole Shadow Karja versus Karja whatever. They don't care about the history. They don't care about the ideological differences. They don't care about any of that shit. The only thing they care about is seeing each other. Like, hey, you're cool and you're cool. Let's hang out on the island away from people that keep telling us what we're supposed to think. Like, I don't know what teenager wouldn't be like, yeah, let's go do that. It's all just symbols. Like the whole Shadow Karja, it's treason for you to engage with the Shadow Karja. It's all social construct that essentially shackled the two of these people from having a connective human experience. It's kind of sad if you think about it. But this kind of shit happens all the time. All the time. Adults ruin childhood more than anybody else.
Enough of this. You have to go back.
Please, if you came all this way, will you look for a trawl? He lit the fire on the island not far from here. If I go, he could be killed. We could break the ceasefire, but Honora wouldn't. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I'm so sorry.
I'll find him if I can, as long as you go home to your father.
I will. Please come find me there. I can't sleep. I can't breathe knowing a troll could be out there, hurting.
Now, a lesson in empathy, friends. The common approach to empathy for her is gonna misfire, because I think a lot of people would say, well, like, why is Aloy so like stone cold here? Why isn't Aloy being a bit more warm and caring and curious? And I think the default answer for a lot of people would be, well, Aloy has never, as far as we know, had any kind of romantic or strong platonic interest in anyone. So it's hard for her to engage with empathy from a content level. But that sits at the surface in a way that I don't think is actually helpful. Because, like, the reason, and how do I want to say this second part? Aloy's struggle here, let me back up completely here. Sort of lost my train of thought. Aloy's struggle to empathize here with what's going on for her is likely because she's wrapped up in this like content of like, I've never had the kind of lived experience where I've had a romantic interest or a platonic interest that was so strong that I would go against whatever pragmatic decision it is I need to make in order to like fixate on it or pursue it. And if that's where she thinks that empathy needs to go or where it needs to lie, she's going to misfire. You want to go underneath the content when you try to empathize with somebody. And in this case, the thing that we see from her, if we try to pay attention to her emotional experience, is like desperation, passion, a sense of loss, maybe even preemptive grief. These are things that you don't need to have a similar lived experience content-wise in order to connect with her on. If Aloy allowed herself to access some of this desperation that she's experiencing, it may open Aloy up to be a bit more warm in how she responds to her. Instead of having this like, go back to your dad and where like, Even if Aloy wants to send her back to her father, Aloy would do very well here to warm up a little bit. Maybe even console her, reassure her. But the way that you engage with that is by saying, this is somebody who's experiencing desperation. And you connect with that by saying, like, is there a time in my life where I experienced desperation? Where I wanted something so bad and it was unavailable to me. Oh, right. The proving, Rost, all these other things. God, that really sucks. To like want something or to not know where it is. And to be left behind and left in the lurch. Man, that must be really terrible for this girl. Let me connect with that experience. Not say, you know, I've been there before too. That's not what she does. But to say, like, I see how hard this is for you. I get it. It's scary. It leads to making certain decisions like this where you could get yourself in trouble. I totally hear you that he means the world to you and you're desperate to figure out if he's okay. Why don't you go back to safety near your dad? Let me handle the dangerous part of this and we'll see what we can do. That is a much more warm, caring, empathic response to have to this girl. That's where you want to connect. Not at the surface level of, well, I've never been in a relationship, so yeah, or whatever it may be. So that's really the point that I wanted to make at the start of that when I kind of fumbled my way through it is empathy comes from recognizing the emotional experience that somebody is having and connecting with that and engaging with that in the way that you talk with them. Go to a Trawl's signal fire. Okie dokie. We'll go there in part 15. We'll see what a Trawl's up to. YouTube, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this playthrough and to make it all the way to the end of this episode. If you haven't left a like or you haven't left a comment or you haven't engaged with any of the links in the description, I encourage you to do that before you leave. I'm grateful for all of your support around these playthroughs. It really means a lot to me. Share it with people you think could also enjoy it. If you're binging, I'll see you right here in the next episode. And if you're waiting for the next episode, we'll get it out as soon as we can. I appreciate you all immensely, and I'll see you on the next.